I help those behind bars, iron or internal, those being eaten away by inauthenticity, depression, addiction, and violence, but have not gotten to the root of our imprisonment, resistance against emotion. I gather people into village circles to feel without suppression and realize freedom lies in the feelings themselves. All right, let's dig in. So, behind bars, iron bars. So, are you saying you go into prisons?
Yo,
Okay. What percentage of your work is that?
right now, 90 to 100.
Okay. So, who brings you in to do that?
Okay, so this is not like, I don't know how much you work with nonprofits, but this is nonprofit work.
Got it. Yeah. So, do you want to have a for-profit side, or is this all nonprofit right now?
I think for now, my scope is nonprofit.
Got it. Okay. So then when you say help those behind bars, iron or internal, what do you mean by the or internal?
Yeah, so for me, this work is beyond the literal prisons. So I come from probably the roughest place on my island, Oahu. So there's a lot of systemic oppression and all of that violence and drug addiction in my hometown. So I want to bring that work to my hometown. And I also think this work belongs to anyone suffering. So this is where like I hear you in like you can't serve everyone. So my main focus is the prison work right now. And then if I had to expand, it would be in my hometown.
So if we just say I help those behind bars get into it, then okay, that makes sense. As soon as we shift to or internal, now it's kind of everybody. And then what happens is we've got a bit of a mix up. Okay, so Craig, I'm going to recommend, and actually for all of you, if you go to YouTube and search Tad Hargrave, the Two Sides worksheet, there's a video. In fact, here, let me actually just pull this up. Yeah, here it is. So this video, there is a worksheet connected to it in the comments or the description below. There you go. So I'm going to put this in the chat. And Craig, I'm going to recommend going through that because part of what's happening here is you've conflated the point of view and the niche, and they're different things. So being eaten away, like I'm just going to categorize these. So the difference between point of view and niche, right? Niche is the thing that they recognize. That's their symptoms. The point of view is what you see from the outside. So unless they're coming to you saying, "Hey, Craig, I'm being eaten away by inauthenticity," that my guess is this is what you see. This is your point of view. This is your diagnosis, we could say, right? Is that some people are being eaten away by inauthenticity. Now, depression, addiction, violence, okay, that might actually be a symptom, right? If they're aware that those things are going on, right? But we've not gotten to the root of our, okay, this is diagnosis, which is good, it's compelling, and it's different than niche. Okay, and then this is the boat. I gather people together into village circles, feel without suppression, and right, and then this is also sort of point of view. So I mean, if we're being kind of simple about it, this is definitely who, right? People behind iron bars. So we could say this is a who. And then being eaten away by inauthenticity, I think that's probably the your point of view on it. And then being eaten away by depression, that's probably a symptom, right? Point of view, about point of view. So in terms of just straight point of view, or in terms of just straight niche, like who this isn't the symptom, it's this. Yeah, right. It's you've got the I help those behind iron bars being who've been eaten away by depression, addiction, violence, etc. Then, right, and maybe part of your take is there's also inauthenticity that's eating them away. There's a resistance to emotion that's happening that's furthering the damage and harm. And what we really need, kind of my prescription, is our freedom lies in feeling the feelings themselves, right? And how I do that is with these circles. But this is the core of the niche. Now, in a situation like this, right, you've got this nonprofit. I think there's a really compelling move where this happens all the time. There's all these motivational speakers where it's like, I climbed Mount Everest with my hands tied behind my back, and I'm going to teach you the secrets of leadership that I learned from the. So the fact that you've lived through this, you've gone through this, you've helped these men, to me that naturally leads to, if you wanted, speaking gigs or leading circles, but where you can say, yeah, look, I've worked with really tough incarcerated folks, and this will help you too. I'm going to do men's work outside. But the credibility comes from the fact that this is the core of your work. Yeah. And it can still be nonprofit and all this. Now, how are you, if it's nonprofit, how are you fundraising? Where's the money coming from? Is it grants? Is it contracts? What's the deal?
So the vision goes like this. In Hawaii, we call people kanakas. So I got this from one of the inmates that I work with. She told me kanakas for kanakas. So I don't want to go through this grant business. I want to do this for like the people who dig this work, that we all pitch in little by little because they love this work.
Okay.
And then I can make a small living out of this because I'm not trying to get rich off of this.
Got it. Okay. So there's some notes in the chat. Here's the thing I would recommend. Now, good luck finding this stuff, but there's some books by a woman named Terry Axelrod. So Terry Axelrod. And she wrote some books called Raising More Money. You're going to have to probably look on like abebooks.com or eBay to find it. But she's got a book called Raising More Money. That's the book I get. This is a book about how do you raise money via individual giving, from individuals, not corporations, not government, not grants, not all of these things, but individual giving. And here's the Cole's notes of it. And this really relates to a lot of what I teach anyways. But the idea is this. One, imagine a circle, right? There's 4 parts to it. First part, you have what's called a point of entry event. So the point of entry event is where you get to share your project, tell them the big vision of it, and give them the facts, give them the info about it. But it's like a signature workshop that I would talk about, but this is flip for nonprofit. Here's the difference too between business and nonprofit in terms of my model. If you're an entrepreneur or service provider, right? Your ideal clients are in island A, they want to be in island B. So they have some personal painful symptoms on island A, they want to be in island B. For a nonprofit, there's still an island A and B, but here's the problem in the community that we all are aware of. Here's what we want in the community instead. So it becomes the island A and B for the whole community. That's where the fundraising comes from, is the ability to articulate that. And then point of view is not saying, here's my take on how you can personally solve your problem. The point of view work becomes, here's how we as a community, this is my sense of how we get from A to B as a community. Here's how we help these people, yeah? So in the point of entry event, you're making the case for all of that. You're saying, here's the problem as I see it in the community. And here's the stats, here's the numbers of our organization too. Here's the vision of what we see for this community. Then step 2 is there's a follow-up call. Could be an email, could be a call. But ideally a phone call, and there's 3 questions you ask in it. You say, number 1, what did you think? Just very open-ended. Let's just hear from them. What did you think? How did that land for you? Then the second question is there any way you could see yourself being involved in this work, right? And I love the phrasing of this question. It's not, how would you like to be involved? Can we get you on board? What would you like most to do? There's no assumption in it. It's just, is there any way you could see yourself being involved in this? Because people often will see something through that signature, the intro event, the point of entry. They'll say, yeah, I'm into printmaking. Maybe I can help make you some t-shirts, or I've got somebody who at a bookstore, maybe we can get books or whatever it is. Third, is there anyone else you can think of who you think might want to be involved in this work? So what I love about this is it's not assumptive, and they may tell you, no, I'm not actually a fan of what you're doing, but you still ask the third question. It's like, hey, that's okay. Is there anyone else? Yeah, my friend Jimmy would love this. They'll recommend you people, even if it's not a fit for them. So those are 3 questions. Then step 3 down here is the ask event. Now, the ask event for a nonprofit, this is a 1-hour event, usually morning or lunch. It's a 1-hour event. And in this event, you basically straight ask for the money. Here's the mistake so many nonprofits make, is they do all sorts of events and fundraisers that they're not actually raising any money. Yeah, we're going to do this big benefit concert. And what do? They charge $25 per person at the door, right? So people come in, or $50. But when you tally all the volunteer time, paying the musicians, all the costs, the porta potties, whatever, no money was made. And but people feel like, oh, but I gave my $50 because that's all they needed. So at this, you say, look, here's the vision, and it's a big one. And this isn't cheap. This is gonna cost money to make happen. And here's what it is. We don't need your money. We're doing great, but we want your money, because with your money, we could do these things. And so you lay out the vision. And if there are inmates who you worked with, who are out now and they could come and speak at it, it's a great thing to say, hey, here's what these circles did for me. This is why it's so important. But this is where you share the full thing and then you ask for the money. You just straight up ask for the money. And there's a couple of things here. One, asking people to become multiple year donors, not just, hey, give us one time, but can you commit to, let's say, $1,000 a year, not just $1,000 one time? That is a game changer. Second is you contextualize the giving in a way that makes sense. So it'd be like, look, to support one prisoner, it costs this much money. Yeah. If we divide up all the expenses to like, and you're asking for money, the money is not being asked for a specific project. You're saying, trust us as an organization. Give us the money. Let us do our work. So they're giving it with no strings, which is good because often, of course, the grants and the sponsorship, there's all these, you got to use it in this way for these things. So you're asking, just give it to us. Right. So that's the Ask event. And she also has a book about the Ask event. I mean, so if you search Terry also, you'll find the book too, probably. They're not cheap because they're out of print. And then fourth, the last one is the free feel good follow-up event. So this would be, if you were fundraising for a school, for example, you invite them to the grad, you invite them to the school picnic, you invite the multiple year donors to come to some social events, to some where they can connect with people who've been involved. And it just deepens the relationship and the trust, keeps you in contact. So those are the four, right? And then, of course, as the donors, you say, hey, do you know anyone who might want to come to this point of entry event? Or the hubs thing, do you want to host a point of entry event for your friends? Here's the last thing about this, the Ask event, is you're not just saying, hey, everybody come. You pick, let's say you find 10 people in your community who you think could fill a table full of 10 people. And you ask them, would you be a table captain? Would you be a table captain and fill up this event for us? Fill a table of 10 people. And then you'd be amazed. Some people you think would be good hubs, nope. And they'll get 2 people. And others, you'd be surprised. They'll get like 20 people there. So, but you start to figure out who the best hubs are. They bring the people there. They do most of the lifting. If you've got a board, this is absolutely a job for people on the board. They can get off their asses and help out on this. So often the board, they just don't do much, but often because they don't know what to do. But if you can say, look, I'm expecting all of you to fill a table full of 10 people, you can do it. Beg, borrow, and steal. When they come to the Ask event, there's no pressure to give. There's no obligation. It's free. It's just come. It's like, look, it's our job to inspire you. And if it's a fit and you want to give, great. And if not, your money could probably be used elsewhere for other worthy things. We're just trying to share, what we've got. There you go. So that's what I would recommend in your case. How's that?
Thank you, Ted. Thank you, my brother.
You're welcome. Oh, bless you for your good work out there. Yeah. Yeah, it makes me think of my friend Van Jones from back in the day. He had a campaign called Books Not Bars because he realized 30 grand to educate somebody or it's 30 grand to keep him in jail. So might as well educate him.
Hey, Ted, I'll just ask this. You ever seen the documentary The Work?
I've seen the trailer, but I haven't seen the documentary.
So my work is in the lineage of those guys. Go check them out. They're fucking real deal, bro.
That's the sense I got from the trailer.
Yeah. So just want to share that with you. Thank you, bro.
You're welcome.